Before we begin, some YouTubers have made excellent observations I missed. Celtic Gunner 1992 says, another thing the catalyst said about synthesis is that it is inevitable, right? If that's the case, then has he not been preventing the ideal solution to his own problems for billions of years?
Without us to stop it, synthetics would destroy all organics. The result is conflict, destruction, chaos. It is inevitable. It is the ideal solution. Now that we know it is possible, it is inevitable we will reach synthesis.
Yes. How Dare You 66 responds, in Mass Effect 2, Legion mentions that the Geth do want to understand organics, but he also says that has nothing to do with their desire for coexistence. They accept organics whether they understand them or not. Understanding was never the problem. PirateLordRogan replies, also, why was Joker and the fleet ordered to fly away when the Crucible fires? I thought they didn't know what it did. And what would be the point of retreating if your war assets were high enough that it didn't deep fry Earth? Isn't this a war? Okay, time to start this.
Because the organics were not ready. It is not something that can be forced. You are ready, and you may choose it.
Now this is once again confusing. The Catalyst tried synthesis in the past, but without the Crucible, and it never worked. Whether the organics before didn't want to be synthesized or physically weren't capable, we don't know. But now Shepard is ready. What does that mean? Does the Catalyst mean only Shepard because he's a cyborg and is thus a good candidate for synthesis? So only Shepard and the Quarians? Or does it mean that Shepard represents all organic life this cycle and everyone is thus ready? Because last cycle, only the Protheans were good candidates for genome manipulation. In fact, Harbinger only really cared about Protheans and humans, but had a completely negative opinion of nearly every other spacefaring species this cycle. So, under what context is the Catalyst referring to Shepard being ready for synthesis? Because it sounds to me that the variables that were changed this cycle weren't people having cybernetic implants, since Harbinger dislikes the Quarians, or the malleability of every species' genome, but rather the simple inclusion of a reasonably working Crucible. The extended cut is supposed to bring clarity, not more confusion. Now, this could be just a poorly written sentence, but it's still unclear, and thus bad writing. What the kid should have said was this: as a result of the Crucible, all organics of this cycle are now ready for synthesis, which confirms what he previously said about the Crucible, of how variables have been changed. In this specific context, we don't need to know what those variables are, even though that's the larger issue. But when the narrative tells us Shepard, and only Shepard, is ready to force his will upon the galaxy, when the Catalyst has the entire human species to choose from, let alone any other organic individual to bring up here to throw into the synthesis beam, it begs the question, what makes Shepard, or this cycle, special? In Mass Effect 1, it was the visions, the cipher, and strong will. The entire plot cared. In Mass Effect 2, it was whatever the hell Tim and Miranda said, but no one cared, except store owners. And in Mass Effect 3, we have no idea, but the Catalyst seems to care. Just wish he'd tell us why. Luckily, Shepard shows some intelligence, as would anyone else with a brain, and he's shaking his head.
I don't know.
Why not? Synthetics are already part of you. Can you imagine your life without them?
That's beside the point.
Exactly. Not only is the idea of synthesis poorly explained, contradictory, and ends up being completely farcical, Shepard at least begins to acknowledge how crazy it is. Why does the Catalyst prefer synthesis? And I wish we could point to some reason why the Catalyst is an insane, illogical, contradictory Hitler, but we can't. With Control, he's not too thrilled about being replaced, but in Destroy, he doesn't seem to give a care about him and every Reaper being completely annihilated. His new solutions aren't solutions to the assumed problem of the eternal death of all organics from synthetics. It's like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or more simply, the writer can't comprehend what he just wrote. These big ideas are simply too complicated. Though I don't like speculating about creator intent, I have a pretty good guess this is because the creators didn't have any idea what they were doing. This was their time to shine. This was their makeup exam. What the hell happened?
Your time is at an end. You must decide.
No, it's not. You control the Reapers. Just make them stop. Shepard needs to argue. Oh, right, we can't do that, can we, Casey? That might be too video gamey to allow Shepard to be, well, that video game guy who solves problems through dialogue. Yeah, it's probably not epic enough, even though Shepard has been solving problems through talking the entire trilogy. If Shepard can get indoctrinated people to commit suicide, but can't for the life of him argue for the fate of galactic life by showing this idiot how wrong, contradictory, and flawed he is, when every single time he opens his mouth he's flippin' insane and illogical, then this is a huge disconnect between what Shepard has done in the past and now their inability to think or even talk. It may as well be any other person up here.
Let's get this over with.
Do what you must.
And there's Screw You audience number 1836. After all that, this one-sided conversation, Shepard doesn't get the opportunity to choose his own solution, argue, or even suggest one. It's all catalyst. Oh sure, there's a refusal, which I'll get to later, but that doesn't allow Shepard to be Shepard. So why is he even here? So let's start from the left here. Shepard closes the spark gap on these two electrodes. We see a vision of Anderson and Thane. These two people died. Oh, that makes sense. We then see a vision of the romantic interest, in this case, Ashley. Well, if there was no romance, then someone else who died. Oh. I'm not sure how it works out in other playthroughs, but it looks like BioWare actually made some sense here. Those who died and the person who's most closest to Shepard. This is just replacing a few 3-second animations, but at least it makes sense now, which in this ending is like a godsend. These parts were actually fixed. Shepard, cybernetics and all, just disappears, which implies that he was atomized, or I don't know. Because, you know, it's how you digitize or upload minds, by atomizing your entire body. We then get a scene of outside the Citadel, where there's this giant blue energy object at the base of the Crucible, and the Normandy is right next to it. Hackett orders all fleets to head to the rendezvous point, as he states the Crucible is now armed. Firstly, how does Hackett know the Crucible is now armed? I thought no one knows what it does. That blue bit of energy could be anything. You see, the story had to tell us beforehand that this was going to happen, and this is called arming. Then we go, oh, there's a plan here. Scientists on the project or whomever was explaining the scenario can be vague or misleading, but we'd have to know that this blue bit of energy coming out of the Crucible means it's armed. Then we could properly define what's going on and why Hackett is behaving a certain way. Since when did Hackett know anything about the Crucible? I thought we had no idea what this thing does, and if he did, why didn't he tell us? Which brings us to a second problem. Why is there a rendezvous point? What are we going to do there? If no one knows what the Crucible even does or how it's going to stop the Reapers or how and when it's armed, why are we running? If it was so dangerous, was it our plan to sacrifice Earth originally, knowing that it would destroy everything in the area? You know, Hackett, maybe you should have told us that. Even more questions arise as to why this situation is even happening, but in reality, these two geniuses are just trying to cover their asses with more broken storytelling. And in this playthrough, Garrus is telling Joker to follow orders by evacuating.
Joker, listen. We have to go.
Okay, firstly, how did Garrus get on the ship? We only saw Edie and an injured Ashley get on. When did this happen? Are we to assume the rest of the team also got on the Normandy? Did you suddenly forget we had our team on the goddamn planet? You're not fixing anything with landing the Normandy on the planet. Can you not even pay attention to your own supposed fixes without making bigger problems? And secondly, Garrus telling Joker to leave Shepard behind. Didn't Garrus talk about how he's a bad Turian who doesn't follow orders? Didn't he just give us this big heart-to-heart speech, and didn't Shepard say there's no Shepard without Vicarian? Combine that with the possible goodbye scene during the trench run.
And you've got to be kidding me. Don't argue, Garrus. We're in this till the end. I need to know somebody's getting out of this alive. Just make damn sure that includes you two.
And Garrus simply wouldn't say stuff like this. He grudgingly got on the ship because Shepard told him, but he certainly wouldn't leave Shepard behind. Oh, I guess he would. There's not even a vague form of divine plot knowledge like Joker. I can't explain it, but I think Shepard's gone. We need to go. Great going, BioWare. You just retconned your most loved and loyal character. Holy crap. So the Normandy and some other ships FTL to the rendezvous point, and we see the big blue explosion, the fight on the surface, then the blue lightning hits Reapers, and then they fly off. We then see a guy with a pistol fighting off husks, trying to save his buddy, and then the blue lightning comes by, the husk he was fighting takes off. We then see a scene of the Citadel from even more blue lightning, and it closes. Why did the catalyst close the Citadel? We don't know. Then the expanding explosion eventually hits a relay. It spins, shoots off a blast, and then its spinning parts explode. This doesn't blow up the solar system it's in, apparently. Oh, well, that's good. That's fixed, I guess. Oh, unless it's low EMS. In that case, the whole thing ruptures. But instead of actually doing an animation to clearly show it's rupturing, in comparison to the high EMS ending, it just fades to the galaxy shot. Was it so hard to show us that we didn't blow up the galaxy? Was that so difficult for a few seconds of showing us that? Yeah? You needed to subvert this. Showing the aftermath is good, but if you have an explosion scene, do it right, or we're still confused as to what happens when a relay explodes. Does it blow up a system or not? We then get the impossible to discern galaxy map scene again. Is light traveling faster than itself? Is this Mass Effect light? Is this the present, or are we 100,000 light years in the future? Isn't the first relay to fire located in the Sol system, which we just saw, and not located whatever or wherever that is? And why is it shooting to what looks to be the Alpha relay located in the Viper Nebula way back in Mass Effect 2's Arrival DLC? That relay is destroyed whether you played it or not. Did anyone pay attention to their own goddamn galaxy map? Hey, creator ending guys, where is Sol located? Where is the Charon relay? Guess what? It's not there. How do you misplace entire solar systems and relays when all you had to do was copy-paste the actual 3D real-time map from the actual game you actually made? So, the galaxy starts cheering as the Reapers fly off. And now we have to ask, what the hell is Joker doing? Where is he going? Wasn't there supposed to be a rendezvous point? Why is he trying to outrun the blue explosion if he's supposed to be somewhere? Was the rendezvous point to go through the Charon relay and arrive somewhere else? Because the blue explosion wasn't traveling faster than light, and explosions don't increase in velocity. The Normandy and that other ship took off instantly. Or did Joker just instinctively freak out and decide to make a break for it by hitting a relay? Why is there no one on the bridge when they were just there telling Joker to chill out? What exactly is Joker doing in the cockpit, pressing all these buttons since the Normandy is in a Mass Effect corridor? Isn't transport supposed to be instantaneous? Okay, maybe he's not in a Mass Effect corridor. Is he still in FTL? Is he seriously moving X and Y coordinates in FTL? Is he crazy? Does that mean he abandoned the rendezvous point? Well, it looks like the blue energy didn't damage the Normandy at all, so what actually is the point of this entire escape scene? Where the hell is Joker going? So the Normandy winds up on some random planet. Wait, why? Oh, its hull was damaged. Okay. Did it hit the engines? Because that would warrant it a crash landing. Is this the rendezvous point? Because Ashley, wait, she looks perfectly fine. Even though we just saw her bleeding a few minutes ago and scarred and nearly die a second time in the story. Anyway, we get the Calvin Klein commercial and the super freaky, creepy music. I mean, seriously, is this a good ending here? Okay, so then a bunch of Spider Reapers dance around on a relay. We then see that the galactic explosion did more than damage the spinning parts of the relays. It also damaged one of its arms. Somehow they're repairing it. Okay, that seems cool. Reapers built it. They can repair it. Good job. We then get 4-second still images of some of our side characters and their planets, which means absolutely nothing. Let's look at this scene. We see Miranda and her sister looking at a bunch of screens of Reapers. Now, compare this picture to this sentence. We see Miranda and her sister looking at a bunch of screens of Reapers. There is absolutely no difference between the picture and this written description. When a visual artist has the same impact as a writer in describing a scene, there is a problem with the use of media. All media has to do is be used properly. This scene, like nearly all the other semi-still scenes, are completely empty. What are these two sisters doing? Where's the closure surrounding Miranda's family life? What's her goal? Are they studying Reapers now? Considering Shepard became Tim Saren Catalyst, is Miranda now in control of Cerberus? And are they continuing Tim's work, considering being evil is now good, since the galaxy is now inhabited by Reapers? Is this some sort of new war happening? The extended cut is supposed to provide clarity to the ending, that is, the galaxy and the people in it. The only thing these scenes are showing is that some people lived. We don't know how or why, nor do we know what they're trying to do here. One cannot provide clarity by raising more questions. Unless the goal of some characters was to stand around, plots or peoples are not resolved by just showing people standing around. Except for Zaid, we actually understand that one. Mind you, not all the scenes are pointless, but it's mostly a giant waste. All they had to do was have an ending similar to Dragon Age Origins. A few sentences describing what happened. Maybe a voiceover. Giving us a picture showing us people, that's really not working. These pictures lack context, thought, and emotion. What should I be thinking or feeling here? Not to mention the tone from the music is absolutely horrific. It makes us wonder just how much we just screwed everyone over. Are they contemplating their new galactic overlord? Jacob is standing around. Who cares about Jacob? Is he a teacher? What happened to his baby? Oh, right, the Krogans. They got babies. Do Krogan babies get born faster? I know they're plentiful, but how long is their maturation? What time frame is this? Oh boy, Kasumi, she's sitting around. So what? Why wouldn't she visit the Hanner homeworld she magically saved and retire a hero? Jack is standing around looking at a cemetery, assuming those buried there were her students. Does she still want to be a teacher? Is she sad? What happened to her? What's she going to do with herself? Be a pirate again? Does anyone know? Or she could be standing around with her students. Both of these scenes really have no resolution. Jack is just doing what she's always done. Shouldn't the end of the Reaper War change things for some people here? The death of her students sounds like it would be a big event, but we don't know what that means to her. We guess she'd be sad, but she's just standing around. In Control, we have Geth standing around, and the Quarians standing around, and then Reapers standing around. Reapers on planets standing around, indoctrinating anything that comes close to them. Ugh. What the hell are they doing on Earth? I thought they took off. They're just standing around in what looks like a metropolitan area. What, are they going to make large holes in the ground for making buildings? This is not good. To make matters even worse, both Renegade and Paragon Catalyst Shepard have something so incredibly horrific to say.
To right the wrongs of the past.
Considering the past is billions of years worth of dead species, how exactly would Space God Emperor Shepard right the wrongs? Could he maybe narrow it down a bit? Isn't righting the wrongs of the past involve killing Reapers? Imagine him recreating all the past dead species from those preserved species in Reaper form. That'd be crazy. What wrongs of the past, and how is the Catalyst going to right them?
To provide the many with a powerful leader.
When did the species of the galaxy need a leader, let alone a powerful one? What's wrong with their own systems of government? Why would Renegade Catalyst Shepard even do this? They never needed someone else's leader, they needed their own. Do you even know what we were fighting for?
To provide a voice for those too weak to speak for themselves.
Oh, that sounds actually pretty good. Are the Volus going to get a giant flying building as an ambassador? Are the Reapers going to represent them on the council? Will the Reapers be the new security council? If Paragon Shepard said to provide a voice for the weak, so all voices may be heard fairly, honestly and democratically, then you go, oh, he just wants to help the weak through normal diplomatic measures. Because the only thing a Reaper would do for the weak is scare the strong from a threat of violence.
To put an end to the bickering of the many.
What? Why would Renegade Catalyst Shepard care if the species of the majority are bickering? Is the Catalyst so sensitive to the ants whining that they have to crush their voices through fear of violence? Why would he care about the inferior cacophony of ants?
To ensure the strongest are not feared or reviled for their strength.
Okay, so you want warlike species to be accepted and admired like the Krogans. Why? You want the Krogans to trample everyone and you want everyone else to accept that? Hey, Galaxy, please accept your new Krogan leaders. Also, do not fear them. Does that make any sense?
The man I was knew that he could only achieve this by becoming something greater.
And when was this? Because we just found out about becoming the Reapers 5 minutes ago. In every other instance of the story against Saren, Tim, the Collectors, the Reapers, the Geth, Shepard was completely against the idea of playing the will it blend game. And how is righting the wrongs of the past, providing a powerful leader, allowing the weak of voice to speak for themselves, putting an end to the majority's bickering, and making sure the Krogan Arachnai dominate was necessary for Shepard to be an immortal space god emperor? I'm not following this story anymore. Why is Catalyst Shepard even bothering to do this? Why couldn't Shepard just be a really powerful force, but completely passive? A mysterious and hidden presence in the galaxy, because he realizes, after that he has his Super Reaper intelligence, that so much power is bad.
You're playing with things you don't understand. With power you shouldn't be able to use.
I don't believe that. If we can control it, why shouldn't it be ours?
Because we're not ready.
It seemed the old Shepard didn't want to control the galaxy, he just wanted to protect it. On a simple whim, the Catalyst, who has this much power, could just destroy the galaxy. Like, think of the Vorlons or the Shadows from Babylon 5. Depending on your Paragon or Renegade score, the Reapers could act as guardians, either extolling the virtues of discipline and tolerance, or conflict and aggression, but generally just leaving everyone the hell alone. Instead, they're literally a galactic dictatorship, with mind-controlling powers. Either the Reapers are corrupt, insane, and totally unbelievable, or this is completely juvenile writing.
There is power in control. There is wisdom in harnessing the strengths of your enemy.
Oh, hello, Cyber Benezia 3.0. Yeah, there is wisdom and hypocrisy.
We're not ready.
No one can comprehend what it means to be God King Emperor of the galaxy. In stating this single sentence, Catalyst Shepard has defeated their humanity. He has literally become the thing he was fighting against, and has accepted an abomination. He merely has another perspective of what the Catalyst was.
I will restore what the many have fought for.
Which is what exactly? Who were the many? The Krogans were many, and they fought for dominance, as did the Protheans, as did the Leviathans, as did probably millions of other species over the billions of years. Is that it? Galactic mob rule? Some sort of timocracy? Rule by the strongest? If the majority fight for something, they're going to get what they want? Is the Catalyst going to actively help conquerors be conquerors?
I will lead an army that no one will dare oppose.
Oh, hello, Galactic Police State. Instead of ending the Reaper War, Shepard's just making it into a different format. Why does anyone need an omnipresent, unstoppable army? No one wants the Reapers. Just go away, Shepard. Leave people alone. And if Catalyst Shepard stops all the conflicts before they begin, how are galactic civilizations going to grow, adapt, change, learn, and eventually respect each other? How are they ever going to be free from their Reaper overlords?
I will protect, defend. I will destroy those who threaten the future of the many.
Oh, so the 49% of the galaxy who think differently are destroyed. What if the future of the many is to dominate and destroy the few? Who would you protect? Weren't you going to give the weak a voice, which I'm assuming is the few as well? And if the Reapers are that involved, wouldn't the many also be learning from the Reapers how to advance themselves? Thus, they'd accept all the gifts that Shepard gives them and try to be in their favor? Can you see a galactic cult forming here? Do you see how this is a nightmare scenario of turning the entire galaxy on itself until the next galactic conflict creates another many versus few war over and over until only one small group of people and the Reapers are left?
And throughout it all, I will never forget.
Oh, great. A techno-god who knows and never forgets all your sins, which he, of course, decrees as sins, because you're part of the 49%.
I will remember the ones who fought. So that the many could survive.
Why?
And I will keep a watchful eye over the ones who live on.
Oh, this keeps getting better. A techno-god with perfect memory who believes in strict mob rule, restoring what the galaxy has lost for billions of years, and has the biggest, most unstoppable army ever, and is now a galactic big brother. Yeah, no corruption or violations of freedom and liberty here.
Those who carry the memory of the man I once was.
Again, why? Why would Catalyst Shepard do something creepy like this? So what if some ants remember their dead friend? Remember, Shepard is no longer Shepard. He's the Catalyst. Leave Shepard's friends alone.
The man who fought to become the one. Who could lead the many.
You never fought to become the one who could lead the many. That was Saren and Tim. You just became them for absolutely no reason or plot or desire of your own, aside from the game letting you. In fact, it was completely self-defeating and contrived that you did become the next Catalyst and are going to act this way, because all the kid had to do was tell every Reaper to go away, which is what Shepard has to do now that he has this authority. With the high EMS, the Normandy is now repaired and flies off. So, what was the point of landing on the planet? This, I think, symbolizes freedom until galactic martial law sets in and Joker can't fly his ship anymore past curfew. Oh boy, these two idiots are still here. You didn't change anything. It's just as creepy and insulting as it was before, especially now, since they're both probably indoctrinated and have to celebrate your god space emperor every day forever. Seriously, how would you live your life knowing you literally have gods flying outside your window telling you how to live your life, who might like you only if you're part of the majority, who dictate how to resolve your problems, and if they don't mind control you to do as they say, they'll crush you like the ant you are? This is the great fallacy if all religions were true. It would be hellish slavery, whose only release would be death, assuming the gods don't control afterlife, under the hope you don't get Reaper-fied and are part of some bizarre liquid zombification Reaper ritual, which sounds like zombie slavery purgatory anyway. You just made a horrible ending horrifically insane. But wait until you see Synthesis. And the worst part of this, it has nothing, absolutely nothing, to do with the supposed problem of synthetics versus organics. You just made all this crap up and ran with it, didn't you? Can you even remember your own